Okay, last revision part is about sex determination. Okay, now for organism, right? How is sex determined? Different organism use, right? They have different mechanism for sex determination, male or female, right? In some of the species, right? What happens? They use environmental factor. Okay. Like in the reptile lizard, okay, agama, what happens here? If it is incubated at high temperature, what happens? It becomes male. Okay, this agama lizard. And also in case of turtle, Chrysema picta, what happens here?
Ma'am, that is scientific name of both of them.
Yeah, both of them scientific name. So what happens here? In high temperature, it will produce female. That means in agama, in high temperature, there will be production of male, and low temperature it will be female. Exactly opposite will happen in the turtle. Species name is also given, Chrysema picta. And in snail also, what happens? They can change their sex in different condition. Okay, so all this thing we can say that sex is not determined by genetics, but in our case, in humans, they are determined by genetics. Okay, chromosomes. We have 22 pairs of autosomes. Okay, these are not involved in sex determination. Okay, one pair we have. Okay, that is called allosome, or it is also you can say sex chromosome. Yes. So totally 23 pairs. Females, right? They have same type of sex chromosome. Okay. That's why they are called as homogametic. Okay. And males, right, have XY different types of chromosome. So it is known as heterogametic. Okay. Now, if right sperm carrying X, right sperm male gamete, right? If it is carrying X chromosome and it fuses with, I can write like this, X chromosome, the sperm, okay, if it is carrying X chromosome and it fuses with the female X chromosome, right, egg, what will happen? We will get XX condition, right? So XX
Ma'am, girl, ma'am.
zygote will, what is the genotype here? Not genotype, phenotype, girl.
Girl, ma'am.
Okay. And if the sperm carrying Y chromosome, what will happen?
And boy.
X and Y. So boy, female, male. Okay. This is how sex is determined in human beings. Understood? Okay. So this chapter is over. And before that, there was some questions, right? About the blood group. I'll just explain briefly. For this blood group, we have AB, and O. Okay. So for A condition, here these blood group are encoded by I gene. Okay, I gene. So for A, it will be IA alleles will be present. If the person is having IA and IA alleles, then the person will be having A blood group. Or it could be like this, IA or IO. Then also the person will be having what? IA blood group. I mean A blood group. Okay. You should know in this blood group, right? A is dominant. Okay. Here. And in the case of B, IB, if the person is having IB allele, then what will happen? The person will be in blood group B. Okay. And also IB and IO. Then also the person will be having blood group B. Okay. Next, if the person is having IAIB blood group, alleles, IAIB alleles. Okay. Then what will happen? The person will be having AB blood group. Both are dominant condition. Okay. Both will express themselves here. This is not like Mendel's inheritance. Okay.
Okay.
And in the case of IO, what will happen? Only if
I,
there is IO and IO. Okay.
Hmm.
So IA and IAB are equal. Both are equal and they are in dominant. Okay. In dominant.
I A is equal to I B.
Okay. Got it? This is the
So,
condition for blood group.
program.
Okay, now this is over. Then let's once more revise our REP. Okay,
Method.
now let's see in REP. So, first thing, why it is importance for reproduction to happen? Why is reproduction important?
Now, for the continuity of the species
Yes.
on Earth, and when a new variation, for new variation to occur, and
Hmm.
replacement of dead organism.
Yes. Okay, good. And the thing is, next is there are two types of reproduction. One is asexual reproduction, the other one is sexual reproduction. Okay. Now,
Mm.
asexual reproduction, how does it happens? It is rapid mode of reproduction, right? It is very fast. And here the cell division, right? Cell divides by which division? Mitotic.
And by
Okay, mitotic division, and here only a single parent is involved. Okay, and here there is no gamete formation and fusion. Okay, fertilization, there is nothing like that. And in the sexual reproduction, what for sexual reproduction there must be gamete formation and gamete fusion, and for that we require, right, two organisms, right? Parents are required, okay? Male and female for sexual reproduction. And also the cell division will be, for the formation of gamete, cell division will be meiosis. Okay, and here the reproduction is not fast, it takes time.
environment consumes energy also.
Yes, energy is also consumed in case of sexual reproduction. Next, there are many modes of asexual reproduction: fission, fragmentation, regeneration, budding, vegetative propagation, tissue culture, then spore formation. So, fission. In this, what happens? Fission means division, right? So here the parent will split. Okay, if it is
Okay.
splitting into two parts, okay, then that is called
Binary.
binary fission. If it is splitting into more than two, then what happens? It is multiple fission. Okay, now binary fission, it happens in the amoeba, right? Have you seen
Yes.
this? Next, also in leishmania, this thing. Then multiple fission, we can see
Plasma.
example plasmodium, right? And multiple fission, it happens
In
mostly.
amoeba also.
Yes, in amoeba also it happens during what?
When the
Unfavorable
cyst is
condition.
formed over the cytoplasm.
Yes, cyst is formed and there will be rapid divisions, right?
Of nucleus
Many
when the cyst will
nuclei
break.
will be formed, and after that nuclear membrane will be formed. And when there is favorable condition, what will happen? The daughter cells will come
Mhm.
out, burst.
So I was
The
having one
cyst
doubt.
will burst.
Ma'am, why in sexual reproduction, ma'am, it's only called daughter cells, and ma'am, in sexual reproduction, ma'am, it's both not. It's offspring. Why the
You are telling the wording.
no, ma'am, I'm asking, ma'am, why the products in like binary fission are known as daughters, and for humans it
No,
is
because
offspring.
daughter cell meaning is that it looks exactly like the mother.
Okay.
Okay, so in the what to tell, in the what asexual reproduction, you tell daughter cells. Okay,
Okay.
in the case of sexual reproduction, you tell offspring because they are different from their parents. Okay.
Okay.
Next, we have this fragmentation. What happens here?
And when the plant becomes old, ma'am, it breaks into pieces which give rise to new individuals.
So it happens in Spirogyra.
I
Okay,
don't know.
algae. It happens in simple body organization. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, regeneration.
Ma'am ask, Ridhima.
Ridhima, she You know, Ridhima, this one, have you read?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, regeneration is not a reproductive method. It's just if a body part falls apart, like for example, of a lizard, if the tail
Hmm.
falls, then it will regrow. But there are no individual organisms, but only the parts.
Hmm. Okay. And this regeneration also happens in the planaria because it is very simple organism. So even if you cut the head, it will regrow. Okay.
Ma'am, what about its brain?
Yeah, it will. That's what I'm telling. It will regrow.
Ma'am, plants have brain.
No,
No,
that's not
no.
a plant. That's not a
That is
plant.
not plant. It is organism. Okay. It
Organism
is
that
Oh
one.
wait, okay.
small one.
Ma'am, so in Spirogyra also the same thing happens.
Spirogyra here, it cuts by itself, right? Um,
Upon growing old,
on maturation. Okay, it fragments itself. Okay, here we are cutting. Any injury or anything happens here, it will grow. In the case of this one, planaria.
each part will grow into each new person.
Yes, each part.
Imagine this was lizard, ma'am. Instead of the tailful lizard.
No, lizard regeneration only happens in the tail.
No, ma'am, I was just telling that what if it happens with the whole body?
Then there will be lizard only. We own how many we can kill. Next, we have next is budding. Okay, in regeneration, how this happens is there is some
Stem cells.
specialized cell. Okay, which will help in the regeneration. Yeah. Next, we have the budding. What happens here? There is some projection. Okay, it will come out of the parent body. Okay, and after that it will grow, right? And after that, after maturation, what will happen? it
It
will it
will
will cut
cut
off from the parent, and it will form new organism, and this will continue. Okay.
cutting in yeast.
Yeah, budding in yeast, hydra. Next we have vegetative propagation. What happens here?
The new plants from they are grown from the vegetative propagules.
Other than the
They
seed,
okay.
right?
No, yeah, that seed is not used from the parts of the plant. That's what I said.
Yeah, like root, stem, leaves,
These
those part. Okay. From them, there is new plant growing. Okay. So that is vegetative propagation. And vegetative propagation, it can happen artificially also by
all
the humans. Okay. Humans, how does that happen?
ma'am, that is grafting, cutting,
Grafting
and
and cutting and layering,
layering. Yes, layering.
all those.
No,
And in tissue culture, what happens?
ma'am, plants are grown in laboratory, ma'am, from small meristematic tissues.
Yes, from small pieces of plant. Okay, small.
Okay, ma'am,
Okay,
that's
and then what happens? They put it in petri dish.
yes,
Okay, and they
ma'am.
give the whatever condition is required for the growth. Okay, nutrition they will give, and after that the it will grow and it will
And
become plantlet, and they will be planted into the soil.
compost. Then
Okay.
after that, nursery it will go.
So from this new plant will come.
Okay,
This
ma'am.
is um, tissue culture. Next, we have spore formation. What happens here? This spore formation, right? It is done by the mostly by the fungi,
Okay.
fungi. Okay. Now here, what happens? We have
Ma'am,
this bob-like structure. What is that?
ma'am, that was sporangium.
Sporangium. It contains spores, right? When it bursts, right? What happens? It goes to the soil, and from there, new hyphae will come. Okay, and then new fungi will be formed. Okay, example is rhizopus. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
and this happens in the moist condition. Okay, the fungi will grow in moist conditions, wet, hot, wet. Next, we will have the sexual reproduction. Okay,
Okay,
now
ma'am.
here this part, how is sexual reproduction happens,
Ma'am,
means
formation of
important part.
gametes,
Yeah,
fertilization.
important.
Yes.
Yes, formation of gametes, then fusion of gametes. Okay, formation of gametes. What type of gamete? Male gamete and female gamete. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Now let's talk about this in flowering plants. How does this happen? So flowering plant, what parts do we have? You can see this flower, right?
Yes, ma'am. Stem and pistil are the main parts.
Yes, stamen and the pistil. Okay, this petal, right?
And that only helps in the growth and the protection of the plant under the bud stage
And this petal is for attraction. Okay,
of
for pollination.
insects to carry
Yes.
the what's pollen grains to stigma.
Pollination. Okay, now for the stamen, what parts do we have?
Anther
Anther,
filament.
anther, and then we have the stick, that is filament. Okay, anther and filament. That is male reproductive part in the flower. Okay, and in female reproductive part we have stigma, style, and ovary. Okay, got it?
Yes.
Ridhima, got it?
Ma'am, why is the anther there?
Answer this bilobed.
No, I'm asking why is it there? Like, what is the use of it?
Yes, I will tell you. So, wait, I will tell you. So, this stigma, style, ovary, they are parts of carpel, and they make carpel, and this is part of what? Female reproductive part. Now, this anther, right? Anther, here what will happen? When you cut it, right, it will be like this.
And pollen sacs are present, ma'am.
Okay, here. What will be containing here?
Pollen grain.
Yes, this pollen sacs, right? Here only the pollen grain, right? They will come. This pollen grain, what does it contain? It contains male gamete, because we need gamete. Okay, here only in this part only what happens? There will be maturation of male gamete. Okay, the after they become pollen grain, right? What will happen? This pollen grain will go to the stigma. Got it? And this pollen grain will be containing what? After this pollen grain will germinate, okay, and they will contain what? Male gamete. Two male gamete. Got it?
Yes. One to form endosperm, one to form zygote.
And here in the ovary, there will be ovules present, okay, and the ovules, right, after maturation it will form embryo sac, and in the embryo sac we are having three cells here, and two nuclei here. And this middle one, that is our egg in the embryo sac. That this is our egg, female gamete. Got it? Female gamete. And here these both are synergids. And here we have polar,
Polar
mm, antipodal cells, and this one is polar nuclei.
nuclei.
See, now what do we have? We have this male gamete and we have female gamete, right? Both the thing we are having. Both are mature. Then what will happen? This anther, right? This pollen grain, it should come to the stigma, right? It should reach the ovule, embryo sac. It should reach embryo sac, right? Inside which we have egg. It should reach egg, so that the fusion will happen, right? So for that to happen, we have pollination. What happens here? The pollen grain, the transfer of pollen grain to stigma of the flower, that is our pollination. Got it? So here there are two types of pollination. One is self pollination, the other one is cross pollination. So self pollination, that is also known as autogamy, right? Self marriage. Gamy means marriage, self, auto means self. So here what happens? The anther,
Of
right?
the same flower, ma'am, that
The anther will be containing what? Pollen grain. When it bursts, the pollen grain will come out, and it will go to the, if it is going to the stigma of the same flower, then what is that pollination? If it transferring into the stigma of the same flower, it is autogamy, and this is called self pollination. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, we have the other type of self pollination. Here, it is known as getnogamy, or what you tell, neighbor marriage. Okay, here, what is happening? The anther of one flower, it is bursting, and here the pollen grain is coming out, and this pollen grain is going to the where? Here, stigma of the next flower, but it is in the same plant, it is in the same plant, so the genotype will be same, right? So it is called self pollination. Right, here it is self pollination, because in our body, right, the cells of hand or leg, are they different?
No, ma'am.
They will contain the same genotype. Okay, likewise for the plant also. Okay, so genetically it is self pollination. And if you see the looking at this phenotype, it is going from one flower to other flower, right, not in the same flower. So you can say it is cross pollination. Now the real cross pollination, and this getnogamy and this cross pollination, xenogamy, it happens by what? Pollinators,
Insects.
insects. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. So now the cross pollination, how does this happen? It is also known as xenogamy or stranger marriage. Okay, here what happens? The anther, right? It will release its pollen grain, and the insect will carry that pollen grain, and it will go to the
So
stigma,
different flower, different plant.
different flower of different plant. Got it? This is called cross pollination. Now this cross pollination happened, everything is done. So first thing here, the pollen grain will come here. Now this pollen grain, right, it contains small pores. Okay. Very big. From that, there will be pollen tube formation. Okay, here see, pollen tube formation, and this pollen tube, right, it will be carrying the two male gamete sperm cells. Okay, two male gametes, and which will reach ovule, right, the embryo sac, ovules. And inside the ovules, what do we have? Right, inside the ovules, what do we have?
From egg and polar nucleus.
We have egg, and these both are
Polar,
synergids.
okay.
These both are synergids, and these, right, we have polar nuclei,
Then antipolar.
antipodal cells. Okay, this is the embryo sac. Here we have egg. This synergids, right, they have finger-like projection. Okay, that is called filiform apparatus. And that what will it do? It will tell, come to pollen tube, right? It will give the direction, and this pollen tube, right? It then it will reach the this synergid. It will break the synergid. Synergids will degenerate, and after that it will go on. And from here, right, there is, I told you, two male gametes are there. One of the male gamete will fuse with the egg. One of the male gamete will fuse with the egg, and it will form what? Zygote.
Zygote, ma'am, zygote.
So one
And
male gamete plus one egg will form zygote.
okay.
Okay,
Yes,
then
ma'am.
I told you there were two male gamete. One of the male gamete is used up. The other one, what it will do? It will
Fuse
go
with
and it
polar
will
leaf.
reach here. Okay, this different color lips. This male gamete. Okay, so because there was two polar nuclei, right? Two polar nuclei, right? Already there were two polar nuclei. There were only nuclei, not
Hmm.
the outer membrane, plasma membrane. Okay, here, and here we had what? Male gamete with plasma membrane and the nuclei. Okay, so these three will fuse to three nuclei will fuse, and this is called what? Triple fusion. First was male gamete and egg, it will form zygote, and this is what this is fertilization, and it is also known as syngamy. Here, two polar nuclei and one male gamete, it will fuse and it is called triple fusion. And both the case there is happening fertilization, right? Fusion. So it is also known as double fertilization. Both the things, double fertilization. So in the flowering plant, this is the characteristic. Okay, double fertilization. Here, Ridhima and Sazan, any doubt here? This triple fusion, right? We have the polar nuclei and one male gamete. It will form endosperm. The other thing, the synergids and the antipodal cells, they all will be degenerated. No
Okay.
work here.
Ma'am,
For
you
the
said
antipodal, there is
antipodals will be dissolved.
yes, dissolved. No work. All the work mostly is done by the synergists, okay, for calling out. And here the antipodal, they are just there. No work. And they will dissolve. And the thing is, this endosperm, right? What is its work? This endosperm will be
Provide
3M
the nourishment to the
nourishment for the zygote. So the endosperm, right, it will develop first. Mostly it will develop first. So that if it is developed, then it can give nutrition to the developing zygote.
Ma'am, if it will develop first, so the other male gamete will wait.
Yeah, they will right. They will fuse, and not I mean, not the nucleus will not fuse. Okay, they will just wait till this
Oh,
endosperm is what?
okay. Okay,
It
I'm
forms endosperm, okay,
okay.
fully mature, and after that, this what this zygote, right? This developing zygote, it will consume, it will eat for it to develop into seed.
Oh, and that whole case will, the embryo sac will become seed.
Yes, this thing, this egg, this zygote will become seed, and this ovule, this embryo sac will become fruit.
Okay. Seed that will become fruit. Okay.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. So here in the zygote, right? What is the ploidy? How many sets of chromosome will be present? 2n. Two nucleus are there. So 2n. In the case of endosperm, there is three nucleus. So it is
Yeah.
3n. So this is the
Symbolic
reproduction
material.
in the flowering plants. Ritim,
Okay.
any doubt?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so there are more than one male gametes which are transferred through the pollen tube.
Two male gametes. Two male gametes.
Okay, but ma'am, there are different ovules too, right? So they make different seeds.
No, no, wait. There are many pollen grains. Okay,
Hmm.
each pollen grain, right?
200.
Yeah, many more pollen grain. Okay, each pollen grain will be containing two male gametes. Okay,
Oh, okay, okay.
then after that another pollen grain will come, and it will also what will happen? Pollen tube will come out. Inside that there will be what? Two male gamete, and
Hmm.
it will also go to the next ovule.
Okay.
Okay, any more doubt? Okay, then so time over. Okay, in the next class we'll continue with the sexual reproduction in humans. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.